Yo, 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 here we go. This is not the smartest guys in the room. I see Tom. I see a new intro. We can tell you about it if you're not streaming. If you are streaming, if you didn't see it, you got to go back and watch it. So, Tom, what's going on, my friend?
Not too much, buddy. How you doing?
Good. How do I sound? I sound all right today?
Yeah, you sound good. You sound good. Do I sound good?
I was just on another room and I was saying something and like making a point, and somebody said, "Mic check, Dom," and I thought, I'm like, "Is my mic sound bad, or were they saying that's a good point that I was making?" Because nobody ever says that, so I was surprised.
Yeah,
You don't have a good answer. Too late. Yeah, see, that sounded weird. I heard the problem. All right, this is not the smartest guys in the room. Today we are talking why we're hooked on the hook. That's the title I made up. That's a good one. I see Jim. I see our friend Dave from Canada. I see Madison. Let's see.
So sorry, Dom. Let me rewind you a bit. I just had to straighten out a quick piece of tech on my end. But yeah, no, your mic sounds fine. And when you say I was in another room, just explain to folks what that means. Because again, remember, like, while we use Clubhouse to allow people to join the conversation, like, this is going out all over the internet. So people listening may not have any idea what you're talking about when you say a room. So like, just explain what you're talking about and kind of how we do this whole thing called Not the Smartest Guys.
I would love to explain that and talk about that. So, one, this is social. We stream from a social audio platform, which is Clubhouse. Social audio. Think Tom doesn't like that. Okay, well, come on. Let me give my opinion. We stream. Okay, we use Restream, but our main platform that we start out on is Clubhouse.
Well, Clubhouse is where we host the conversation.
Okay, that's a good answer.
Right?
Like, why'd you ask me to answer when you have a better?
Well, I didn't think you were going to start talking about streaming from Clubhouse. You can't even do that. Like, that's not a thing.
All right. Well, we live stream from where we host that conversation.
Well, we live stream our conversation that we host on Clubhouse.
Okay.
Right. But I just sorry. I just wanted to clarify that. And like,
it's fair.
I get like nerdy and kind of caught up in the technicalities, right? Like, maybe it's not important.
I think it is. You're doing fine. And so, bottom line from my side, and then Tom can get technical. There's a platform called Clubhouse that is social audio. Think any social media platform where you share the written word or share videos. Clubhouse is a platform where you use your voice. So you could be working in your office, you could be driving in your car, and you can be on this social audio platform where you jump up and talk. So this morning I was in another room where it was called, the room was Breakfast with Champions, and they were talking about autism awareness. And I was interviewing my friend Sonia Chan because it's Autism Awareness Month, and she is a thought leader in the space. So now we jumped over to here because we host here every Wednesday at 9:30. Me and Tom talk all things media, all things publishing, all things production, and pop culture, all kinds of things like that. So today I made up this great title that is why we are hooked by the hook. So Tom, that's what we got going on.
Cool. I love it. And yeah, I mean, originally, like, just so people kind of like backstory for folks who maybe haven't been around since day one. But this whole thing started originally as just sort of a casual conversation, right, on Clubhouse. And then it sort of turned into a regular thing. And then I couldn't leave well enough alone, and I had the idea that, hey, we should live stream this. So we've kind of branched out, and it's gotten bigger than just Clubhouse, which is kind of why I wanted to clarify. Like, Clubhouse is how we host the conversation, how we give people the opportunity to participate. Anybody who wants to can jump into Clubhouse, can get up on stage, can share their thoughts, share their wisdom, share their opinions, get involved in the conversation in Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. But Not the Smartest Guys in the Room has now kind of become this other thing that we live stream all over the internet. I kind of refer to it for people as a live podcast because I think that's the easiest way to sort of understand it. And we use Clubhouse as a great sort of means to an end to enable us to bring a lot of people into the conversation, to hear from a lot of different folks, to hear from a lot of varied opinions and varied thoughts on subjects. So it's not just me and Dom talking to each other for an hour, which we could do easily. I just don't know that it would be as valuable. Speaking for myself, I don't want to speak for Dom, but I think the two of us just having a conversation for an hour might not be as valuable as the conversations we're able to have because of how we've structured this. So that's what Not the Smartest Guys in the Room is. As the name suggests, the goal is for Dom and I. Honestly, it's not that high a bar some weeks for us to not be the smartest guys in the room. We managed to clear that bar pretty easily most of the time. But the goal is to not be the smartest guys in the room. And so that's what we're here to do. And this week we're talking about why we're hooked on hooks. And I think it's an interesting question. I hear people, obviously in the context of video production and creating video, especially for marketing purposes, videos for brands and businesses, people often talk about the hook, right? And the hook can be a lot of different things. I think one of the most common ones that we see all the time that we're often, or a lot of us are probably very familiar with. When I say this, it's going to ring bells for most of the people listening, I think would be when you hear somebody start a video with a question, right? When you hear that common, like, did you know that ... or have you ever heard ... right? That's a hook. And the idea there is just to grab your attention very quickly and to get you to stick around a little bit longer. It drives me nuts when people when people use that kind of on repeat, and it's actually not that interesting. Like, I don't know if you've seen this, Dom. This is a phenomenon in like recipe videos and cooking videos where they'll start with the "did you know that?" And it's something really common, like, did you know that if you put a steak on a grill, it'll cook? Like, it's something really inane and ridiculous like that. And they're doing it just to get people to stick around for those extra couple of seconds, because those extra couple of seconds mean that in the creator economy, the longer people stick around for, the more they earn, the more creators earn off of their content. And so it's really valuable for them to get you to stick around past like the first 3 seconds. So they'll say, like, did you know that if you take a steak and you unwrap it and you put salt and pepper on it and you put it on a hot grill and then you flip it over, when you're all done with that, you have a cooked steak? Like, that's a recipe video all of a sudden. Like that's literally, I'm not even exaggerating. That's the kind of stuff that people are putting out. So they're kind of like misusing or abusing this idea of that sort of question as a hook. But I think it can be very valuable. And again, hooks can be really important. I like when people are clever with them, or kind of come up with new ways to use them. But, I hear people talk all the time about, and this is kind of one of my pet peeves, is they talk about, oh, nobody's got an attention span anymore. Nobody's got an attention span anymore. And it sort of drives me nuts, because while there is some research to suggest our attention spans have slightly shortened, the truth of the matter is that that's not really the issue, because we can all sit down and watch a movie, no problem, right? We can all sit down and binge watch, episodes of our favorite streaming series over the weekend. Just started Ozark, by the way. Freaking great. Anyway, that was last week's topic, but I just started Ozark. It's a great show. But the idea that we don't have attention spans anymore is ludicrous. The fact is, the truth is that we are getting more information thrown at us, right, on a minute by minute basis than ever before in human history. And so what we're really competing for is not attention, not the ability to pay attention to something, but just the attention to try to break through the noise. And so that's where hooks can be incredibly valuable for people, especially when you're creating content for marketing, for branding. Even if you want to be a creator and you want to earn a living off of the content that you create, having that hook at the beginning of your videos can be incredibly important. So those are my kind of initial thoughts to get us rolling on the topic. I know I droned on there for a little while longer than I meant to, so apologies, but I will relinquish the microphone now and let somebody smarter than me contribute to the conversation.
That's me.
Okay. I definitely set myself up for that one. Well done. Well done.
Thank you. Okay, not the smartest guys in the room. Why we're hooked on the hook? Love a hook. I would say if I love emotion in a hook. Whether some people you see in movies, or my wife's always watching true crime. It's you're scared, you're fear. Fear's a hook that is used. Love, you could love, and then to play, to use emotion, whether it's a mother and a son hugging, whether a parent protecting child, those are hooks. And when you're able to use that, it's the human experience. Our friend Sonia's here today. She talks a lot about the human experience. So we've all been hugged by mom or protected a child, so those are things that we can all feel. So I would lead with emotion, using those emotion that we've all felt, the human experience. Madison, hooks you love, hooks you've seen, even on a commercial or when you're doing your editing work. What speaks to you? And introduce yourself too. Let's introduce ourselves. Yeah, go on.
Hi, I am Madison. I am an editor by trade, and I do some networking and outreach for Dom at Motivation Champs. I'm in Chicago. I don't know if that matters, but it's the truth. And something that I am thinking about is like hooks that are like thinly veiled. I'm thinking of specifically like the commercials for 5 Hour Energy. Their hook is like, oh, it's so difficult to like make coffee every morning. You could just like drink a 5 Hour Energy. But that's like creating a problem. Like making coffee takes, 50 seconds. Like it's those kinds of things where it's like, this isn't a problem to be fixed. But then, maybe some people are like, it is such a hassle to take 50 seconds out of my day to make coffee. Now I'm going to buy 5 Hour Energy. That's sort of like what they're counting on in my head when they do hooks like that and like create problems to sell something. It's like that it feels like, oh, you think I'm like dumb, like I'm just gonna accept that it's so difficult to make coffee in the morning. I can't think of another example, but that's just one off the top of my head.
I like that, Madison. I mean, it's a solution in search of a problem, right? Which is sort of a classic marketing, advertising, and business blunder, right? I mean, it's sort of one of those things that like whenever I mean, I don't know, Dom, if you've ever gone to any of these things, but I've gone to like as an observer, and I've been invited to a few times to like pitch competitions and start for like entrepreneurs and startups, and hosted by sort of like angel investing funds and incubator programs and stuff like that. I've been to a couple of those events, and one of the things that they will always ask you when somebody goes up and they do their pitch for their product or their business, and they lay out their business plan, one of the first things they'll ask you, if it's not clear, is what exactly is the problem that you're trying to solve. Like, you have to clearly define the problem you're trying to solve. And I think that idea, that ethos, should carry over into your marketing and advertising work, right? Like, you should be very clear about the problem you're trying to solve for people. And in what you're talking about with 5 Hour Energy, it seems clear that they are a solution, an energy drink, in search of a problem. People complaining that it takes too long to make coffee in the morning, which is, I mean, I don't know, like it's not that hard to do. We have a coffee maker in our house, in our kitchen, like a lot of American households do, right? Like a lot of households all over the world do, right? I mean, coffee is like, I think, the second most consumed beverage worldwide, behind tea. But obviously people have, many people have coffee makers in their house. And like, if you've bought your coffee maker anytime in the last, 20 years, it likely has a function on it where you can set a timer and set it to brew. So like, I got up really early this morning because I'm a lunatic and I'm training for my next triathlon, and I had to get to the pool. So I got up at 4:30 this morning so that I could get out the door by 5 to go swim. And when I walked into my kitchen at 4:30 this morning, guess what was in the pot? Hot, fresh coffee, right? Because we set it up the night before. So it doesn't seem to me like much of a real problem. I mean, I don't know, Dom, even with all the stuff you like to add to coffee, it can't take that much longer to make it.
I was just going to say, boy, Tom, I had a great iced coffee this morning. It had mocha, like a vanilla and mocha in it. You would have a couple scoops of sugar. I'm riding high. That's why I've already been.
How many ingredients did your coffee have? Like it has
them all, man.
Chocolate syrup, like mocha, right? Chocolate syrup, vanilla, sugar.
I like 5-hour energy drinks too. So
milk.
Madison, I like 5-hour. If I see them and it was nighttime, I might pick up a 5-hour energy drink. All right. Well,
I like them for drives. They're great for long drives.
They're little, they're small, they're half the size of a cup of coffee. So I mean, there's merit to it. Come on, Madison. All right. Why are we hooked on the hook? Sonia, when you're reading, when you're marketing, how do you view the hook? Is it something you use, something you think about? Turn off, turn on? Go on, my friend. Introduce yourself as well. Go on.
Hi, I'm Sonia. I am a major fan of Dominick because he published my book, Dropped in a Maze. And he's awesome. Also awesome. So for the hook purposes, so you mean, and I just have to ask you now, does that mean like your logo? Is that what you're talking about? Like for the hook? Is that what you're saying? I'm just a little confused as to what you mean by
hey Sonia. No, so when we're talking about the hook, we're talking about like in a piece of content, on a video, even text posts, things like that. That sort of beginning of the post or the first line or two, where often they'll start with like a question, right? Or they'll make a statement. But a lot of times, like one of the common ones you'll hear is, sort of like, did you know that ... right? And then they'll go on to sort of like.
I got one for you, Tom. I'm gonna use Sonia as an example, and since we stream, people might be able to see it. I'm holding Sonia's book, a lovely picture of Sonia in all her glory. It's called Dropped in the Maze, and on the front of the book, she says, "My life on the spectrum." Okay, so we just found out that probably that means that Sonia's on the spectrum. She says from outcast to outstanding. So even before we get into the book, there is a hook being used we found out that she's on the spectrum, and there's been a journey from outcast to outstanding. So that would be a hook, and people can use those kind of things. You could use it by telling stories. You could use it by, like Tom said, asking a question. So there's many ways to use the hook or view the hook.
Yeah. Okay. So, now that I have that explanation and understand better, thank you. Yes, I do use the hook of like, do you ever has anyone ever been touched by autism, or has anybody ever felt alienated or othered or rejected, right? Like those things. I use those for posts. And then I also use that's mainly what I use as the questions, kind of like the kind of one that was explained earlier, I believe, from Tom, where he was like, oh, the most common one is, did you know, like those questions. Yeah, I do those. I use those on the posts for sure.
Okay, gotcha. Tom in the comments, we talk back and forth, and he just gave the best question to me. I'm sorry, I sidebar, because while I'm hearing Sonia answer, this is a good one, and we should ask this around the room. Tom says, ask. So Dr. Tachi, we're coming to you on this, and then we're going to go back around. Dr. Tachi, do you have a most hated hook? Is there one that you hate? Go on, Dr. Tachi. Anybody else can jump up and answer that too. Go on, Dr. Tachi.
Hey, good morning. Most hated. That's a good question. I think I mirror what Tom says in terms of the stupidity hooks. That's what I'll call them, where you're telling us how to do something to like the did you know? Yes, we knew. So I abhor that. I think also a hook that brings you in and you take too long to get to the point once you're in the, for example, the main part of the video or the main part of the article or whatever. Get to the damn point. I know you want to keep us around because you're trying algorithmically, which is, I don't know if that's a word, but you're trying to keep us there for your own numbers, etc. But I hate when people use a hook and then bury everything else and it takes too long to get to the point. So I don't know if I answered your question, but there I
you knocked it out of the park, and me and Tom, I'm looking at him. We're both shaking our heads like, yes, as everything you're saying, like, yes. God, I hate when somebody stalls forever to get to the point, to get to the hook, and then all of a sudden they go on to another video. It's like I got to watch a second video because they didn't get to the hook in video one. Oh, God, that drives me crazy. Tom, you were shaking your head too. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, I was just I was laughing because what Dr. Tachi brought up, and then you were just talking about there about taking too long. Like, just again, like and it's just because that they're so, at least in my feed. I mean, I like to cook. I cook a lot, right? So like, I see a lot of cooking content, right, in my feed. And because I tend to watch it longer than I watch some other stuff sometimes, right? Because sometimes I'm interested in it. It's something I like to do as a hobby, but they drive me nuts exactly when you have to go to a second video, or when it's the thing I was talking about before, the cooking thing, where it's like, did you know that if you do this, and then they're just listing the steps of like a basic recipe, and I'm like, yeah, of course I knew that. Like, I know how to cook a steak. What are we doing here? Like, what is happening right now? I thought there was like, because you feel tricked, right? You feel like they pulled the old bait and switch on you, which is kind of what they're doing, and it sucks, right? And it's similar thing like when you have to watch into a second video, right? Like, it's a bait and switch. Like, it sucks. It's lame. I think for me, like the ones that drive me nuts the most in terms of hooks, it's not like one particular phrase that is the worst. It's the ones that are just very unimaginative, right? Where like, you'll come across someone's content, or you'll see multiple pieces of their content in your feed, and every one of their videos starts with the same hook, right? Drives me absolutely crazy. And especially when it's like a question that does not have an interesting answer, right? So like, I actually tend to personally favor hooks, or like to start posts with a statement that is kind of like, huh, interesting. Like, makes you do that thing where you kind of go, huh, and like cock your head a little bit sideways, like almost like a dog when you like whistle at a dog or say their name, and they kind of like, they tilt their head a little bit, right? Like, it's that kind of thing. Like, those are the kind of hooks that I tend to like, right? Like, I on my newsletter last week, I think the first line was, if cookout marketing isn't a thing, I'm claiming it, right? It should be something like that, right? Because I had this idea for like describing how people should do marketing, and in line with my legendaring strategy and all that stuff. And it's kind of like having people over to a cookout at your house, right? So I started talking about cookout marketing. And yeah, so like that, I tend to favor those kinds of hooks where it's a thing where you go, huh? And you're sort of like, well, what do you mean by cookout marketing? I want to hear more. I'm kind of curious now. That sounds interesting to me, right? Like, that's what I'm going for with that. But yeah, like the inane, lame questions that don't have an interesting answer, right? Like, people are playing fast and loose with the idea of what's interesting, I think. And I'm not here for it at all. But that's why I was not.
Have you ever done this? Have you ever done that? Yeah. And I don't need you to ask me a stupid question. How about, I mean, you get those same hooks in your, like, I get them in my LinkedIn every day. People like pitching me. Do you want more sales? Do you want more leads? Do you want to never have to do any work and sell more books? leave me alone.
Have you ever wondered how to live the life of your dreams and not work? Like, yeah, I mean, just stupid, inane things like that. Yeah, all the time.
I would go. Now I'm just going to bash on another hook I don't like. I don't like either way, left or right. I don't like political ads that start off with other person. They take the worst picture of whatever person you have, then make it darker. Thunderous boom in the voice where like now we're in some like scary voice, and whatever either party could have done, they make it 1,000,000 times worse. And you're like, everybody's getting robbed and killed because of Tom Langan, and you're like, well, I don't think everybody's, I'm not sure.
Hey, what did I do?
Yeah.
What did I do?
That's how it goes. Hey, okay. Not the smartest guys in the room. We're moving along here. It is that time where it's time for Tom's Thumbs. You ready for this? And yeah, we're doing it, Tom. Tom's Thumbs. This is a segment where we ask Tom a question, give thumbs up or thumbs down on something. And I've been taking a lot of heat recently, so I want no more heat on. The heat has been because Tom has been very negative lately. So people said, could you almost ask him a question that he can't give a thumbs down to? So I thought about like little babies taking naps, but then we say it has to be pop culture, current, topical a little bit. So I thought about asking Tom about the Easter Bunny, but he would turn the Easter Bunny bad and say it's been so we'll go today. Tom, what do you think about springtime, new growth, and all the blossoming flowers?
All right. So basically, what do I think about spring?
Yes. What do you think about
Does spring get a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Exactly.
Essentially. Okay. So I appreciate that you've been taking a lot of heat. And I'm glad that you gave me a slightly better topic this week than last week with like just a random, I mean, not random, but just a date for me to rail about. And obviously, like, how was I supposed to give that a thumbs up? But anyway, spring gets a thumbs up from me. And here's why. I'll couch that. It is despite the fact that I have seasonal allergies, and every spring I get like the sneezy, coughy, wheezy, running, like watery eyes, like all of the sort of classic allergy symptoms hit me hard every spring. But in spite of that, I give spring a thumbs up. And here's why. I have said for a long time that I don't think I could ever live somewhere that didn't have distinct seasons, right? Anywhere where the seasons were kind of like muddled together, or like, in parts of like the Southwest of the United States, you basically have sort of like two seasons, right? Like you sort of have a rainy season and a dry season, and that's about it, right? It's a little bit warmer in certain parts of the year, a little bit cooler in other parts of the year, but basically you have a rainy season and a dry season, and that's it, right? Where you don't get that sort of that swing, that pendulum swing from season to season. And I really like that, because what it means to me is that there's always something around the bend that's new and different and interesting and exciting, and brings with it new things that you enjoy, right? So like, I have things that I like about every season, right? So I enjoy, because I'm a cyclist and a runner and a triathlete, and I do all these outside activities. I spend a lot of time outdoors in the warmer weather. I really enjoy it when spring comes around and it's warm enough to comfortably start riding my bike outside again, right? Like that's something I really look forward to. I ride all year round, or I run outside all year round. But riding my bike outside, like it's really uncomfortable when it's below freezing to be going like 20 miles an hour on a bicycle. Like it's not fun. Plus, the snow and the ice makes it a little bit dicey. So I tend not to do that. But, I really like that when that happens in the spring. And then in the summer, like you get vacations, trips. My parents are very fortunate. My parents have a lake house. So we get to go spend some time at the lake house with them over the summer. So we get to do that in the summer. And then coming into the fall, the leaves change. It starts to get cooler just when you're sort of tired of the heat and the humidity in the Northeast. It starts to cool off in the fall. You get the leaves changing. It's beautiful. I live in the Hudson Valley. It's a place, it's part of the country where, part of the world where people travel from all over to see the changing colors of the leaves in the hills and the Catskill Mountains and the Adirondacks around the Hudson and up and down the Hudson Valley. So it's a beautiful time of year. I love that. And then you get into the winter where there's snow on the ground. Everything kind of looks beautiful. And I get to go skiing, which I also love. Right. So there's something I love about every season. And so I really like having those distinct seasons because it means that I always have something to look forward to coming up in the next couple of months. In terms of new things, new activities, something that I get to do that I enjoy that I don't get to do at other times of the year. And spring is no exception to that. So in spite of the fact that I get seasonal allergies pretty, not like super severely, but bad enough that it's annoying. In spite of the fact that I have seasonal allergies, I definitely give spring a thumbs up.
We did it. Everybody that's been sending me hate about Tom being negative, spring gets a thumbs up. Well, Tom, there you go, man. You should be happy today. There's a smile. Somebody said something about, somebody sent me a video too. We have a new intro for this. And they sent me a message and they said, Tom's smiling. Tom never smiles. So
if they're saying that, they don't actually watch the live streams for long enough, because I absolutely smile in every live stream we do. There is no question that at some point during the live streams, I smile, we laugh, like every time. So if somebody's saying that, then all I would say is you're not watching enough.
Ouch. Okay. All right. Not the smartest guys in the ring. Okay. Not the smartest guys in the room. Sometimes we're in the room.
Are we going to wrestle? What's going on? You going to start throwing punches, Dom?
Hey, we could. All right. Not the smartest guys in the room. We're talking about hooks today. I had two I notice a lot of hooks are people getting left at the altar. Like there must just be, that's a hook that in shows, like in one of my favorite movies, The Wedding Singer, he gets left at the altar right at the bat. So this is a common theme. And then I thought about the proposal, where in the proposal, so a lot of hooks have to go about, they get engaged because she's about to get deported. So she tells her boss, because she's about to get deported, that her and that Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds are about to get married. So broken marriages left at the altar is a common hook that is used. So what say you about that, Tom? And then we're coming to you, Madison, and back to you, Dr. Tachi.
I was just going to ask a quick question, and then we can go to Madison. Sorry to interrupt, but are you a fan of rom-coms? Is that like?
Let's be clear here.
I didn't know that about you.
I pronounce that I am a fan of rom-coms. I love a rom-com. And my wife, if you're listening, Liz, like Pretty Woman, perfect rom-com. And even I'll go into a movie like Coming to America. Eddie Murphy, great movie. Arsenio Hall, super funny. Is coming to a buddy of mine that's really a tough dude. One day said he loves Coming to America. He said it's his favorite movie. I'm like, that's a rom-com. And he was like, how dare you say that? Well, Eddie Murphy's in love. It's lighter on the rom, but it's definitely a rom-com. So yeah, Tom, we could do a whole show on rom-coms.
Yeah, it's a rom-com, capital com, right? Like like the com is all caps on rom-com there, but it's a rom-com for sure.
Dr. Tachi, I think I bet if we broke down per beat of so movie has basic 40 beats, something like that. So I bet if we broke down the beats of Coming to America, that I don't know. I wonder how many are about him and the girl and and the marriage versus straight comedy in the barbershop. So, okay, I could go on and on about this. Okay, so Madison, we're talking hooks, we're talking rom-coms, we're talking Tom finally giving us thumbs up to something. So where do you weigh in on these subjects?
Well, I guess I came up with another sort of hook that irritates me, like the clickbaity hooks that a lot of like influencers and YouTubers use for their YouTube videos, like where they just say something. I can't even think of an example, like, oh my gosh, we're getting a divorce, but then like that's just not what the video is about, and it's just so that like people will go, click on that video, or they use a thumbnail that's like not in the video either. That's one that irritates me for sure.
Oh, I'm with you on the thumbnail that's not in the video thing in particular. That drives me absolutely nuts. I hate it when people do that. Like, do not show me something that is not in the video. It's like, when you see like a trailer for a movie or for a TV show, and in the trailer they show you a scene, and then when you get to that scene in the movie, it's different, right? They've cut part of it, or they used part of the scene that was deleted in the trailer, and you're like, but that was really, I was looking forward to that. I wanted to see the rest of that scene, and I didn't get to see it. So yeah, I'm with you. It drives me absolutely nuts. I think I just wanted to, in the spirit of what Dom was talking about, throwing out some favorite hooks. I really think one of the great all-time hooks in a movie specifically is the opening scene of Jaws, where the movie opens with a shark attack. Like, that is the first scene of the movie Jaws, is a shark attack, right? And that's the hook. Like, that shark attack scene is the hook, because then you're like, okay, well, what's going to happen now? Right? What's going to happen next? Like, we start with a shark attack. Where do we go from here? Right? How could this get crazier? And of course it gets crazier, but yeah, I think that's one of the great all-time sort of hooks, is, really kind of like that sort of gut punch kind of hook, right? Or like slap you in the face with something you're really not expecting. Like, you're not sitting down, obviously people saw, you saw the Jaws poster, like there's the big shark, like, there's a shark in it, but like, I guarantee when people went to see that movie in the theaters, they weren't sitting down expecting that the very first thing they saw was going to be a shark attack, right? And that music, right? That theme, that dun dun, just so classic. So I love that one. That's one of my favorite all-time movie hooks, is that, like, that slap in the face, gut punch, surprise hook, where you're just like, you're left reeling, kind of wondering where they could possibly go from here. So I'm curious, Dr. Tachi, if you've got one of those that you can throw out at us, a favorite. We started out by asking you what's your most hated hook. So now we're going to turn it around. We'll bring it full circle. What's a favorite hook, or a great sort of opening to a film or a show, or something you can think of off the top of your head that you really enjoy, or you like, or you think is done well?
So if we think about trailers like hooks, even though it's an advertisement, right? It's meant to get you to see the movie, sort of like a hook, or for a show, trailers. I love that they take the best parts and put them together. I think that's very effective to get you to go see it. However, if you're going to do that, you need to make sure that the movie, show, piece of content is worth its weight in gold, because don't let me get there and then it's rubbish after. So you've given me all the best parts in the trailer, and that's all there is to the piece of content. So I love when people do that and they do it well, and then there's something to follow up, meaning there's great content after that, but don't give me the best parts and waste my time with a lackluster, rubbish movie, film, piece of content. I rest.
That's good stuff, Dr. Tachi. I see a comment that says opening scene of Goodfellas down at the bottom. Jimmy, you got to come up and explain the opening scene of Goodfellas. I forget it, although I love Goodfellas. Dr. Tachi, to your point, I love on videos or shows. What do they call it, Tom? Cold open, where they show you a clip. Show me a clip of something going on in the show, and then you cut it. And now to Dr. Tachi's point, show me it, and then let me see it again. But just show me a piece of that. I think it should always be done like that. Netflix, Netflix basically uses this 5-act structure, and before the first break is hook. They are hooking you into whatever, you're into the middle of the crime scene. And really, that always think about every Netflix thing you've ever watched. You're in the middle of the crime scene. You're in the middle of the story. Somebody just got shot. Somebody's about to, and then boom, they take you back. So it's hook done every time the same. Go on, Dr. Tachi. You're still
Oh yeah, no, really quickly. Yes, 100%. And one thing that I've noticed, there are a lot of YouTubers that I watch, because you all know I sit and watch YouTube basically all day. So there's some YouTubers that are really good with doing this. So they'll take a clip out of what they're going to say, and obviously it's very compelling, and then they'll have their intro, and then they'll start the video, but that it's going to be in there somewhere. And so that's what got me to watch it. Oh, you're talking about this today? But again, you need to use that. If you're going to use that as your hook, don't not have it in the video, or don't not have it in the piece of content, because that's what got me to watch anyway. So again, there's nothing worse than wasting time and you don't see it. But for the most part, when I watch these particular YouTubers, they've been very adept in taking a clip of the video. It could be somewhere they went, it could because they traveled someplace, and they show it, and then that it's coming in the video, and it gets you to stick around.
Love it, Dr. Tachi. And I will say, since I'm plugging, I like to crowbar in how my show Bikes and Hikes, that everybody should watch. It's on YouTube or Armstrong, but we always start. Every episode is started with something from the adventure. Like me and my friend, we go bike and hike, but something that happens along the way, some adversity we face, or when my friend slips and hits his head, or falls down a hill, or gets muddy or dirty or angry. Usually that's how it is started. So Bikes and Hikes. Today is the Tournament of Chumps. We have 64 clips from our 3 years, and we are doing a 64 bracketed challenge. Okay, why are we hooked on the hook? Tom's in a good mood today. He gave a thumbs up. So Julie, we are asking you, and this was directed from Tom. He said you have to give the thumbs down. What is your most hated hook, Julie Loken?
I'm not quite sure how to answer that, because I'm still kind of, my jaw is on the ground that Tom gave a thumbs up to something. So, but I was thinking, people, if you will, my least favorite hook, and this is the first person that came to mind, and I'm kind of just spinning as to what Dr. Tachi was talking about. When you get all the hype and then there's nothing to substantiate it, and the one person, the Netflix deal with Harry and Meghan, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, giving them $100 million Netflix deal. And she came out with this new show, With Love, Meghan. And I have never seen such hated reviews. All the money that they put into the production, beautiful production, the money that they gave to Harry and Meghan, and the hate that is out there and how horrible it is. I just see that juxtaposition in terms of, do people know what people want these days? That would be my current thought, at least. If you guys know what I'm talking about.
So did you watch this? Did you watch the show, or was it any good, Julie? So did you hate it too? Was it junk?
I'm a big, I love following the royal family. I know you're surprised by that. I know Tom's probably like, oh, really surprised about that. I love the royal family, but she just comes off as very out of touch with what people's lives are really like. It's almost like she has no kind of foundation for knowing her brand. And I found that curious. I found the cinematography, it was awesome. The background, awesome. However, I think she's missing the mark 1,000%. So I did watch it, but it was a little bit of a snooze fest.
Hey, thank you.
Eric Reed loves the royal family too.
Does he love the royal family? Hold on here. So I want to tell you, I was at the high school, my daughter's high school last night, picking her up from some sport. And looking beside me and my wife in the car was Queen Elizabeth in the back seat of this car. So yes, this is Queen Elizabeth sitting next to us in the back seat of the car. Somebody, one of the high school kids, has a picture on their back window of Queen Elizabeth, like she's sitting in the back seat. What's up with that? Is it weird? Is it weird to still have it after she passed? So I just thought Queen Elizabeth was a little bit odd. They love her too, Julie. Eric, we're talking hooks. Why we're hooked on the hook. What say you? I saw you said double R on wrestling earlier. So what's up, my friend? And introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Eric Reed, founder of Skinny Brown Dog Media. So I watched the Meghan Markle thing. And what kept annoying me was, this is not my house. People are letting me use this house. It was like, you're not even inviting people into your own home while you're setting up this whole scene of welcoming guests into your home and making special candles and honey and whatever bath salts. You could see it was brand positioning. She's just trying to position herself for her home line or whatever the next thing she's going to sell. And it just felt really disconnected. Like, if we're going to be at home with Meghan Markle and learn how she spends her afternoon making bath salts.
Wait, it's Megan Sussex. I'm sorry, right?
Sussex.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Sussex. Yeah, right.
So invite us into your physical home. Don't use a staged home. And apparently they built that house or that set just for all of this. So yeah, I don't like when celebrities or shows use celebrities to bring you in and then the celebrity just doesn't exist. Like, they just take a back seat, or you're like, oh, I was all excited about learning about this, and they take you off on a different direction. So, but I'm all about a good hook.
Thank you, Eric. It's funny when this uses of celebrities, they hook you like you're gonna see inside. They're going to be so authentic, and then they try to pitch you something. So, Dr. Tachi, you're flashing away over here. So, what do you got? What say you, Dr. Tachi?
I must weigh in on this. So here's the thing with Megan Sussex, as it is, the show with Love Megan or with Love Megan, whatever it's called. So I watched it and I actually find it quaint. And I actually think that, in my opinion, a lot of the backlash is unwarranted. And I do agree. I think that she has to warm up to and warm into the role. It's not where it could be. But you have a whole felon in Martha Stewart that has a show, and it's not always the most interesting. You also have had other people. She's not doing anything different per se than what everybody else has done. Now, that's probably part of a downside of it as well. But I think a lot of the backlash is unwarranted because there are some people, and I'm not saying people here, but there are some people who are upset that she is who she is and where she is, and some people who don't think she's deserving of that spot. So I think that some of the backlash for some people has less to do with the show and more to do with her and who she is. That's just my personal opinion.
And I'll agree, except she tries to be not the people's princess, but she's trying to be one of us. Like, we've left the royal family. We're just average working Joes. We're just people like you. And yet everything about the set, everything about her fashion, her look was very sterile and over manicured. Like, they didn't even spill stuff on the counter. And it was like, this doesn't feel real. And yet you're trying to tell me you're a real person. And I think that's the disconnect I kept feeling.
And I understand that because I can see that as well. Like, you don't spill, but does Martha Stewart spill? So I'm not comparing the two necessarily, but there are other people who are, for example, Martha Stewart is very anal about that stuff. Whenever you watch any type of show like that, most of the time they're not spilling unless it's a cooking show. And even then, it's overly manicured and overly perfect sometimes. So sometimes I think it's just people are not necessarily connecting with her, and it has nothing to do with the content of the show per se. And I'm not saying, Eric, that that's what your thought is. This is just a general blanket comment here. But I do see what you're saying. But again, I think the hate is overboard for the show.
Dr. Tachi, didn't you like Martha Stewart after she went to jail and partnered with?
Now, see, now that's put on. That's market. If we want to talk about marketing, if we want to talk about branding and trying to get yourself back after you were in jail, that's what the hell that is. So
Yeah.
if we're going to levy those types of allegations, we need to look at that as well.
Go on, Tom. Tom.
Well, here's all I was going to say. We're talking about hooks today. So just to try to bring it back to that topic, and then I want to see what you brought for show and tell this week. But just to put a pin in this and wrap it up, all I would say is I haven't seen Megan Sussex, whatever name she's going by now. I haven't seen her show on Netflix. Honestly, probably won't because I'm not terribly interested in that kind of programming. But here's what I will say. Obviously, the hook was good enough because we got 3 people in here who have watched it who were talking about it. So, whatever the hook they used, it worked seemingly. Worked on a lot of people. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that because I haven't seen it. And, no further comment for me. But I do want to see what you brought and hopefully comment on your show and tell this week, Tom. So what do you got?
Okay, I'm bringing out the big guns today. I am a child of the 80s and 90s. I that's where I think. And somebody said earlier about like being something pre-cell phone, pre-recording, stuff like that. Well, the 80s and 90s were epic. The merch was epic. And I got to soak it all in. I got to soak in the Hulk Hogan's, the Michael Jordans, all that. So today, what I am going to show you is my Michael Jordan Frisbee. Michael Jordan Frisbee that you got at McDonald's. What happened to the cool Happy Meals with toys? I want it back. When you talk nostalgia, Frisbee's Michael Jordan at McDonald's. Come on. Like McDonald's doesn't even have playgrounds anymore. So I don't know. I'm not one of these people that loves yesteryear and thinks today can't be better. But you can't get a cool Frisbee like this in a Happy Meal anymore. My Michael Jordan Frisbee. Look at this.
All right. So I think that's amazing. It's great. I also am a child of the 80s and 90s. Those were what a lot of people would refer to as my formative years, right? So I also I really appreciate that for what it is, and particularly like the color, right, is very like 90s, late 80s, early 90s, right? Like that sort of teal. The other thing that I really enjoy about it is the fact that it says fitness fun on it. Like, what does that even mean? And also, like, what kind of fitness are you getting from a Frisbee? Like, are you getting like a light, tricep workout, or like a light wrist strengthening exercise from like flicking your wrist as you throw the Frisbee? Like, what kind of fitness are you getting from throwing a Frisbee? And then the last thing I'll say about it is, curling all 3 ounces of it, right? And then the other thing I'll say is that picture on it is awful. It is awful. It barely resembles Michael Jordan. It looks like somebody's cousin who somebody said to them, "Hey, you look like Michael Jordan," and then they used them for the model for that weird airbrush style painting of Michael Jordan. It barely looks like him. Even back in those days, like obviously, like, my mental image of him is a little bit older than like his early career in the NBA, but man, it does not look like Michael Jordan. Like, they did not do a good job of creating a good graphical representation of Michael Jordan. It looks like,
how come every picture I bring up, like my Franco Harris, you guys really dumped on my Franco Harris picture one day, and now you're dumping on my Michael Jordan, the image on the Frisbee? Come on now.
It looks like somebody's cousin who looks vaguely like Michael Jordan. Like,
I don't
Looks like Leroy Jordan.
Dr. Tachi and Tom, I don't think you guys are allowed to say that. That doesn't seem very nice.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying anything bad about Michael Jordan. I'm commenting on the approved art that they used on that Frisbee. It's not good. Like, it's not, it's great in the broader context. It's fantastic that image sucks, right? Because it makes the whole thing better and funnier and like more enjoyable and like gives you more to talk about. If it was a great representation of Michael Jordan, there'd be less to talk about, right? So it's hilarious. It's perfectly appropriate that it sucks. But it sucks. Like, you can't argue that that's a good picture of Michael Jordan. It barely looks like Michael Jordan. Like Dr. Tachi said, it looks like Leroy Jordan, Michael's third cousin.
I see Soma thought the Leroy comment was funny. I will say something is peculiar on this, though. When I look closer, the teeth are like little conehead Beldar teeth. So whoever, I've never noticed, but whoever drew it had no understanding of the human teeth and what it takes to bite an apple. So hey, I do want to tell you. So you said this workout exercise. I'm in my office right here, and I got cords and things like that. So the other day I fell crossing this room. Got a big giant bruise on my arm, so I need to lift. I might have to start with the 2-ounce Frisbee to get my strength back up because my arm hurts so bad. So that's what I have for you. Tom, this is not the smartest guys in the room. I think it's time for you to wrap us up because you got us. You were so positive. I don't want you to start getting negative, and then nobody will come back next week. So why don't you wrap us up with a positive spin?
All right, I will do that because you asked nicely, Dom. I will wrap us up with a positive spin. So here's, we started off today talking about hooks, and I think that's where I want to end it today because it's something that we all need to think about, something we all need to be aware of, and something that we all need to use in our communications to try to draw people in and to try to break through the noise, the volume that we're all inundated with. Online every day, right? There's more and more content, and every day it increases. There's more and more content being produced, being distributed, being put in front of us, being thrown at us all day, every day, than there ever has been before in human history, and it only goes up on a daily basis. And so I think hooks are incredibly important. The thing that I would always encourage people to do is to not take the quick way out or the easy way out when it comes to your hook. Don't do the cooking video. Did you know that if you take X ingredient hook, right? Don't fall into that trap. It's easy. It's the short way out, and it doesn't really deliver good results, right? It's sort of like hopping on trends. Like, don't be the 7 millionth person to do a TikTok dance to a particular song, right? Like, just don't do it. Just cut it out. Like, you missed it. You missed the wave. You didn't catch the wave. Like, stop trying to paddle furiously towards the wave as it disappears towards shore, right? Like, just don't even try. So don't take the easy way out. Don't take the lazy way out. The thing I would encourage people to do is when you're putting content in front of an audience, right? You should always be thinking about your audience first, right? Don't create the content for yourself, create it for your audience. And when you create content for your audience, and you're specifically looking to deliver value to them through that content, right? Which is something we should all be trying to do in all of the content we create, is to deliver value to the audience. That's what really gets people to stick around and watch and pay attention, is that value that you deliver. Think of a good way to sort of encapsulate or summarize or suggest what value they're going to get from the piece of content at the beginning, right? So you can start with a phrase. It doesn't have to be a question. You can start with a phrase or a sentence or a question, right? You can employ the sort of methodology that was employed that I mentioned in Jaws earlier, right? Where they kind of slapped you in the face with something surprising right off the bat. So there's a lot of different ways to employ a good hook. What I would always encourage people to do is two things, right? One, make sure that your hook is appropriate for the content that you're delivering to your audience. So make sure it makes sense for them. And two, make sure that you're not getting lazy with your hooks and reusing the same hook over and over again. Try to come up with at least a new spin on your hook for each piece of content. It doesn't have to be brand new. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time, but at least put just a little something different on it every time you use it, right? So if you're going to use a question, or if you tend to use a question, use a different question, slightly change the phrasing, right? If you're going to use a statement, make sure that the statement carries some weight, maybe slaps people in the face, grabs their attention right off the bat, makes them kind of cock their head out of curiosity and want to kind of dig in further and see what else you're bringing to the table. But that's my best advice for everybody when it comes to using hooks. They're important. Learn about them, read about them, look them up online. I'm sure that there are tons of articles and tutorials and videos that teach you how to create hooks and use hooks. There's lots of good content on the internet. And then the other thing too is I would say pay attention to some of the your favorite pieces of content and the kinds of hooks that they use to reel you in and to bring you in, because generally speaking, if you like that content, you like those hooks, there's a good opportunity for you to maybe use those in your content and for your audience as well. So that's my best advice. That's all I got for this week. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being here with Dom and myself. We are not the smartest guys in the room. We are here every Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, streaming live all across the internet. So join us wherever you like to find your content on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitch. You can also join us for the conversation on Clubhouse. But until next Wednesday, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And until then, we'll see you. Bye-bye.